My wife had been growing distant for months, but I kept brushing it off, thinking it was just stress or work pressure. I tried to talk to her, but she always dismissed me, saying I was overthinking. The small conversations we used to share vanished, and every time I sought her company, she acted as if I was invisible. Her silence cut deeper than any harsh words ever could. One evening, after a long day at work, I came home expecting at least a little warmth. Instead, she barely looked at me, scrolling on her phone, lost in her own world. I sat across from her, hoping she would notice, but she didn't. That night, I realized she had completely shut me out. It wasn't just ignorance, it was disrespect. I lay awake, thinking of all the years I had given her. The sacrifices, the compromises, the loyalty, none of it seemed to matter anymore. She acted as though I was a burden in her life. That moment of clarity turned my sadness into anger. I decided I would not beg for her attention anymore. The next morning, instead of going to work, I made a decision that shocked even me. I went to my family and explained everything. They were furious with her behavior and told me I deserved better. My mother suggested something bold. If she didn't value me as a husband, maybe it was time to give someone else the chance. That same day, with my family's support, I met a young woman from our community. She was respectful, kind, and her family had heard of my struggles. They welcomed the idea with open hearts. There was no hesitation. The proposal moved faster than I could have imagined. By evening, I returned home with her as my new bride. My wife was sitting in the living room when I walked in. At first, she didn't understand what was happening. When she saw the woman beside me dressed as a bride, her face drained of color. She jumped up, demanding an explanation. "What is this? What are you doing?" Her voice trembled with a mix of confusion and anger. For the first time in months, I looked her directly in the eye and said calmly, "You ignored me. You left me alone in this marriage. So, I found someone who will not." The room fell silent. My wife's arrogance shattered instantly. She had never imagined I would take such a step. She thought I would always wait, always beg, always accept the scraps of her attention. But seeing me stand beside another woman broke the illusion. She tried to argue, tried to remind me of our history, but I had already made up my mind. A marriage without respect is just a prison, and I refused to remain trapped. My new bride stood silently, her presence itself proving my point, that I had options, that I wasn't helpless. My family supported me completely. They reminded my wife that marriage is built on mutual care, not one-sided sacrifice. She had played with my patience, but I had shown her that I could walk away without hesitation. That night, for the first time in years, I felt a strange sense of peace. Not because I had hurt her, but because I had finally reclaimed my self-respect. She had ignored me, and I answered her ignorance with action instead of words. My wife, once so confident in her neglect, now found herself in tears. She begged for forgiveness, saying she never thought I would actually leave her. But it was too late. Her apologies were drowned out by the memory of all those nights I sat alone while she treated me as if I didn't exist. I did not shout, I did not curse, I simply moved on. My silence spoke louder than anything. She realized too late that when you ignore someone who loves you, you risk losing them forever. In the days that followed, the community whispered about what happened, but I didn't care. People knew the truth. I had been patient, loyal, and kind, but my patience had limits. She had tested them, and I had given my answer. And so, the life I once thought was over found a new beginning. My first wife learned the cost of arrogance, and I learned the power of self-respect. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying someone, it's about showing them you can live better without them.